guys, it's Erica Galinas from the Mike McCady Group at Century 21 Affiliated, here with our Ask the Agent segment for the week. Flipped houses. There's not as many as there used to be, but there's still a bunch of flipped houses out there. You can usually tell when you see them because A, they're vacant, B, they're finished with white kitchen cabinets and gray floors and gray paint and white trim. You can usually tell what a flipped house is. There are reasons to be extra cautious with a flipped house. Most house flippers, do a fine job and pay attention and caulk their seams and all the things that, anybody fixing up a house should do, whether it's your own or something you're going to sell. There are a certain percentage of flippers in our market that do a lousy job. I won't say any names, I won't point any fingers, but certainly I have been in houses where the flippedness is obvious and you can tell that they did a lousy job. So if you see one of these houses, particularly in such a tight market as we have now, there's some things you may want to consider if you want to go forward and buy a flipped house. A lot of times, they're doing kind of lipstick on a pig thing, and I want to make sure to avoid that because these problems can be very expensive. So the first thing you can do when you work with your agent to initially put in an offer is request a list of the work done by the flipper. There's sales disclosures that they're supposed to fill out. Basically, they just draw a line through them and say seller never lived in home, which isn't exactly, certainly not in the spirit of the form, but I guess legally they're in the clear. When you put in your offer, ask for a list of what they've done. What you're looking for is basically the difference between cosmetic things and structural things, because there's a lot of houses with real solid bones that just need new floors and take some wallpaper down. There are a lot of houses that have terrible problems and leaky basements and terribly old furnaces and cracked fireplaces and all kinds of things that might be a problem going forward. The reason why you want to try to find out about these problems is fixing them can be very expensive. Ask them for a list of what they did. It shouldn't be hard for them to come up with. I mean, you don't necessarily need model numbers of the cabinets they ordered or something, but a basic list of what they did is probably a good idea because you can tell a list of cosmetic stuff versus a list of structural stuff. Two other things that you can use that for is you can use it to see if they've pulled permits. Not a lot of buyers pay attention to whether or not they pulled permits, particularly in the Northwest Indiana area. We don't necessarily have the most stringent, inspection processes with the county and certificates of occupancy and stuff like that. So you can use that list to ask, hey, did you pull a permit for this septic job? Did you, pull a permit for this, electrical job that you did? You can also use it as a guideline for your home inspector. I always recommend everybody have home inspections all the time, but you can use the list of the upgrades they did to, share it with your home inspector and said, here's what they said they did. Maybe you want to, double check these things to make sure they're done properly. The other thing you can do, just for curiosity's sake, is a lot of times you can go to the county website and look up the address of the house and see when the last time it was bought or sold. So if somebody, bought it 2 years ago, maybe they've spent 2 years making updates and they did a really good job because they took their time, or they bought it 6 weeks ago or 2 months ago and said they did all of this, amazing electrical work and all these different things. Might be worth checking out because that's a pretty short time frame, to do massive renovations and to do them properly. Number two, speaking of home inspections, I always recommend all my clients always have a home inspection every single time, no matter what. With a flipped house, you may want to have a regular home inspection, obviously, but you may also want to call in an electrician and a plumber, possibly an HVAC person, but it depends on, the furnace is pretty straightforward. You can usually tell if it's old junk or if it's brand new. What an electrician and a plumber can do for you is crawl into the attic and look at all of the boxes and crawl into, the crawl space to look at the plumbing attachments. Home inspectors are well trained. They usually do a very good job. But when you're looking for, something where they have replaced, I've seen this before, they replaced the plumbing under the kitchen sink, but that led down into the crawl space basically to some ancient clay drainage pipes. It was a horrible mess nightmare. If you have an electrician, if you have a plumber, check the house out. They can give you a heads up on those things, and you can ask for them to be repaired. It's the important things about that: health and safety. Obviously, electrical stuff, safety. I mean, if they've wired something poorly, and I've seen some really creepy wiring jobs in the past, the house burns down in the middle of the night. Hooray! Not good at all. Health stuff. Obviously, you want your sewage to be drained properly, and backups into your sink and horrible things like that. An electrician, a plumber will have that specialty knowledge to know whether or not what you're looking at is safe and functional. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it has to be safe and functional. The, you're going to pay a little bit extra. A home inspection, I mean, it depends on how big the house is and stuff, but you're looking at like $350 to $450 for a home inspection, depending on the electrician and the plumber. A lot of people have friends that do that, which is awesome. But if you just call an electrician in the phone book or a plumber in the phone book, they can usually give you, $100, a couple $100 to spend some extra time, an hour or two, crawling through the house and checking all of those electrical and plumbing things. The electrical and plumber also will spend a little bit of time looking at the furnace and the hot water heater, which absolutely benefits you as well. Third thing, home warranties. I don't normally recommend home warranties for clients. So what a home warranty is that it's kind of like, your car warranty or your warranty on your refrigerator. But in theory, what they cover is the major systems in the house for a period of usually 1 year. You can ask the seller to pay for it. Again, it's like $500 or $600. And in theory, how it works is that if your home inspection's great, the furnace is great on the home inspection, you close, you're ready to go. 3 months later, the furnace is dead. For whatever reason, whether because it was flipped or just because it's a lousy furnace. The home warranty company, you pay a small service fee, usually like $75, and the home warranty company covers all the rest up to and including a replacement of the furnace or refrigerator or all these different things. In practice, it's not always that easy, as you can imagine with any kind of warranty company. There's usually hoops to jump through and fine print you've not read. But what a home warranty can do for you if you do buy a flipped house is it will cover you for the space of 1 year for stuff that's very, very expensive. And again, the big issue with flips we want to be careful of is big, expensive problems. Plumbing, electrical, furnace, structural problems, cracks in the roof that they've just like papered over, things like that. That home warranty will protect you for the space of that 1 year. Again, based on just like I said, $75 service call, but it will give you some protection just in case something bad goes wrong. And usually most people who buy houses, particularly their first house, they've spent all their money on the down payment and the closing costs. There's not another $8,000 just laying around waiting to replace your furnace. So a home warranty can be a good idea, particularly in the case of a flipped house. Those are the three big things with a flipped house, and it kind of follows the time frame. Number one, in the beginning, ask to get a list of the stuff that they've done. You can take that list, look at it, make sure it looks legit. I mean, I'm sure it is, but just make sure. Then you take that list and you give it to the home inspector, the electrician, the plumber, who, these additional inspections that you're having done on this flipped house to make sure there's nothing creepy hidden behind, the beautiful fleur-de-lis bath tile and, gray vinyl plank floors. And then the third thing, you have those inspections. Everything looks mostly okay. Might be a little weird. The electrician pointed something out that may or may not be problematic. You ask them for that home warranty. And you can usually do this. You can do it at the beginning if you want to. You can do it as part of the home inspection. I probably would wait for the home inspection because it gives the seller an out to be like, oh, well, I'll just buy the home inspection. I don't have to worry about the rest of this stuff. But there are kind of 3 levels of protection. You're first getting into it. What are you looking at? During it, like, what is this house? Is it good? Are we sure? Behind the scenes. And then the third thing, after closing for that year, that home warranty will protect you. I will say this, these 3 things should be important when you're buying a flipped home because, again, you're never sure what you're going to buy. But we're in a very hot market right now. Making these kinds of demands can be considered kind of fussy because, there's 15 other people waiting to buy this flipped house. It is in your best interest to protect yourself because most of the things that go wrong with badly flipped houses are very expensive. Roof, structure, electrical, plumbing, furnace. They are systems problems, not cosmetic problems. So it's going to be tricky in this kind of hot market to balance between, oh my God, I love this house, it's beautiful, and I don't know, this electrical looks like it's made of paper. We should probably, check that out somehow. You have to do what's in your best interest. Again, if you have a bunch of money set aside in addition to your down payment, maybe you can take more of a chance with a flipped house that looks a little weird. If you're, have no money other than your down payment and you're borrowing money from mom to do it, maybe that's something you want to pass on for now and go to the next one. And here's the thing I always tell my clients. We walk into these flipped homes and they're really gorgeous. Well done or not, the cosmetics are usually very nice, and they are every contemporary picture of a kitchen you've seen on Pinterest this week. Just beautiful. They're expensive. Usually, they're priced top of the market. These are business people. There might be hidden problems. Who knows? Could be expensive. Don't turn your back on the house that is solid. Good roof, newer windows, solid structure, layout you really like, hardwood floor from the 50s that's going to last forever. and you know, it maybe has some, you know, avocado appliances or some kind of horrific bathroom tile in the shower, just consider the idea of buying the house and flipping it yourself. You're not really going to be flipping it, obviously you're not going to resell it, but there are renovation loans available. You know, there all are smaller cosmetic projects that you can very well probably do yourself for a minimum of time and money. Save yourself the money on the mortgage, design it the way you want, and you can always make sure that it is done properly, because the last thing you want to do is move into a house and find out it's garbage, because now you're stuck with it 30 years or until you can sell it. Gotta fix the stuff before you sell it, etc., etc. So if you are looking at a flipped house, please be cautious. Maybe do these 3 things just to make sure, and then also think about not caring about the paint color and painting it yourself. So that's what I have for this week. I'm always happy to answer all of your questions about buying a house, title work, home inspections, mortgages, whatever it is. Please let me know. Call or text me anytime, 219-765-2062. You can also email me at hsbyerica@gmail.com. That stands for Home Sales by Erica. You can comment on this video, send me a private message on Facebook, on YouTube. You know, however you need to get hold of me, I'm happy to help. Super low pressure. I'm happy to just answer questions. All right, you guys have a good week. We're having a big storm, so hopefully we're all home, safe, and warm, and I will see you on Tuesday. Thanks. Bye-bye.